Yo, we live? What's up? It's Keith Kelpis. I want to share with you the dumbest mistake that I made in my landscaping business which I almost made a mistake that was even dumber, but hopefully this is a learning lesson to you because I just want to make sure that I am live right now. That's why I got my phone out. And this mistake made me lose a good employee because, when you promise an employee something and then you take it away, they're gone. They don't trust you anymore. And it's like you promise them a big promotion or a big raise or something like that, or you tell them you're going to run this whole thing and then you change your mind at the last second. Let me make sure you can. My landscaping lesson to you because I just want to make sure that I am live right now. Good, that's good. Okay, so I got my phone out. I do that every time. All right, so a few years ago, I had some guys working, and I can't believe I made this mistake. Sometimes things are so simple and right in front of you. All right. If you have a W-2 employee, then you pay them through payroll. You could pay them like a salary or hourly or bonuses, but they're W-2. If you have legit subcontractors that work for you, then they have to have, I'm not here to give any advice. I'm just talking about where my head was at. I had this idea. I was like, wow, I want to put a guy in a truck. This guy's really responsible. He's excelling rapidly. Here, let me change this camera. He's excelling rapidly, and I want to put him in a truck and have him go work. So he did that. He started taking the truck and trailer out. And then I was really concerned about the risk. But then I had this other idea. I was like, oh my God, I could just make him a subcontractor, but like a legit subcontractor, like it's his truck. He shows up at the job sites when he wants to, like he gets his own insurance and all that stuff. And literally I just sell the jobs and 1099 them. But I'm not talking about like being sneaky. I'm talking about like a legit subcontractors and moving in the landscape business in the direction of just having like a sales and marketing organization. And then if he could have his own business. This was a few years ago. So I was talking about this with a friend of mine who's got a multi-million-dollar business and has a lot of subcontractors working for him. And he said something to me when I was asking him questions. This was before I understood math, like the 10% rule, the 20% rule, the 30% rule, the 40% rule, the 50% rule, the 80% rule, the 80-20 rule, the rule of 72. There's all these different rules, right? And my friend said to me, I was like, so you have subcontractors, but how much do you charge? How much money do you actually like profit and get to keep? What is the math? What is the formula? And he's like, man, as long as I get my 30%, I'm fine. So in my head, in that moment, I was like, oh, okay. So as long as I make 30%, I'm fine. Now pay attention. This is the dumbest mistake I ever made, and it could have been worse. So he said to me, as long as I make my 30%, I'm fine and I'm happy. I don't care because I'm getting paid my 30%. And it's like, now I'm not saying this is a good idea. I'm just saying this is what a business owner told me. And I'm going to flip the camera and I'm going to draw this out. Once you hear what I did, you're going to be like, are you stupid? Now I feel embarrassed even making this. As long as I get my 30%, I'm good, dog. Shit. 30%. 30%. You're like, all right, get to the point or I'm bouncing. Your time's valuable. Okay. Come on, here we are. He said, as long as I get my 30%, I'm good, dog. So I had this guy working for me. I said, bro, you're crushing it. I want to propose to you an opportunity. You already own a truck. I'll help you, give you all the advice to get started. You can own your own business, and literally I can subcontract you to the jobs. You're going to have to sign subcontractor agreement, get your own insurance and all that stuff. You show up to work when you want. It's going to be your business. And he's like, dude, that's amazing. Now you should proper consultation before you do this. Because in my business right now, I have W-2 employees. We actually have payroll and workers' comp and all that stuff. Like, they're legit W-2 employees. So, but anyways, 30%. I was like, all right, bro. Well, here's the deal. I'm going to make it super lucrative for you. I'm going to give you 70% of the entire job. Because all I need is my 30%. Oh my God. Are you catching my drift? And he's like, all right, 70%. I'm like, yeah, this next job is you're going to go trim all these shrubs. I've already sold a job. It's $1,000 and I'm going to give you $700. He was like, $700. Oh my God. This kid. And this kid was smart. He was a good worker too. I'd like to follow up and see him where he's probably started a business by now. But anyways, I'm like, all I need is my 30%, dog. All right, so it's about midnight. Come on, here. I'm sorry. Here I am. It's about. I need to just quit switching the cameras. It's midnight, like the next night. He's gonna start doing this Monday. I'm getting the paperwork together and everything. And all of a sudden, I jump out of bed and I start sweating profusely because I've already made a promise to this guy that I'm going to give him 70%. This is the deal. We're going to put all this on paper. And as long as I make my 30%, I'm like, something's wrong. Something's terribly wrong, folks. And my wife's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's midnight. I'm pacing around. I'm like, I don't know. I got a really bad feeling. I don't know. My subconscious mind is telling me that this is wrong. But my rich millionaire friend told me as long as he gets 30%, he's good. All right, I'm going to just break down the math why this is the dumbest thing ever. As long as I get 30% net profit. Okay, so I don't know about landscaping or whatever, what type of stuff you're in. My friend, his business, they're doing like monster $50,000 and $100,000 jobs. If you're trying to do this in landscaping, I don't even know. You're probably not going to get a 30% net profit off of subcontractors unless you're doing monster $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 luxury hardscape, luxury outdoor stuff. So I'm just having some fun here. But 30% net profit after all of the expenses. After all of the marketing and advertising and administration, all of the insurance and taxes and all that stuff. So really, if you take 100%, and let's just say 70%, 30, 30, 60. Let's just say in the best case scenario, I should have offered him 30% as well. And then so 30, 60, then 40%. Man, this marker is making me mad. I think I got a whole pack of them. This is probably not even possible, but 40% would have went to pay everything else. So if I would have really only paid myself 30%, I would have went out of business immediately. I would have been paying him everything. And I was like, and so I freaked out. Does this make sense to you? Like, in order to get 30%, you would literally have to take at least like 70 or 75% of the job. I think the going rate for subcontractor, or at least pay for performance, what is it? It's like 25%. And then the max labor out in the field, if you have like people working, should never go over maximum tops, including bonuses and everything, 40% of whatever the revenue each truck is bringing in per day, per week. There's an overall 40%. Like everything is, if it goes past that, then the business is just not working. You're not making any money because you have so much overhead and fixed and variable overhead. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm like obsessed with this. So out of 100%, if you would have paid yourself 70%, then out of that 70% after all the expenses, you'd probably make a 30% net. So when my friend with his multi-million-dollar business was like, as long as I get my 30%, dog, I'm good. Yeah, after paying his office staff and the marketing and advertising and all that. And so I literally offered this kid 70% of the money. So I literally freaked out and I started texting him and I was like, bro, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. I'm really sorry. And I was telling him why. I'm like, the business would actually fail. And he was so pissed off. He was like, he thought he was going to get 70%. Like when you tell somebody that and you promise somebody that who doesn't understand the math, and it's your responsibility to know all that math before you make a proposal to someone like that. Dude, this kid quit. I think he worked another week and he quit the next Monday. He was gone. There was no way I was going to get him back. There was no way that the opportunity, it was gone. And I was like, and I felt stupid. And that's how you learn. So it's like you can get all excited and try to pay somebody more, offer someone some type of opportunity. But I think before you do that, you should get some really good counseling, get some advice, get some counseling, but get higher counsel, seek higher counsel. That's what it's called. Get advice, get all the math, break down everything in your business, and come up with something really realistic, practical, and pragmatic. Like right now, I can't tell you what I could pay my guys because they probably wouldn't want me to publicly tell you, but it's probably the going rate or what the industry is. And I'm embarrassed. Like it eats me alive. I was just telling my wife at dinner, I'm like, I wish I could pay these guys like $35 an hour plus benefits, but the market won't support what I want to pay them. And it's to the point where it's like, I don't know, level up or shape up or ship out or go big or go home. Like in my heart, I want to pay guys $100,000 a year. There's industries that you can pay people that, and I'm sick of the going back and forth and feeling bad about that. And so all of the wishful thinking in the world works in your head and on paper and when you get excited, but when you get out into the market and you actually throw mud at the wall and you see what's actually sticking, you understand it's a lot more challenging, but you don't see that in the beginning. You're blinded by all the hard work. I'm not going to tell you what one of my other friends said because it's not very nice, but I hope you guys are doing well. You know, they say the numbers don't lie. I think naivety is your best friend. A lot of new people that are starting in the business, there's really diminishing returns. And I just keep looking at the math. Lawn Care Millionaire said you have to scale past 17 employees to replace what you are making in the field. This is fully loaded employee. You don't get that back until your 17th employee based off the speed and efficiency that you could work and what you were paying yourself as a technician in the field. And I'm fascinated by this because I guess there's just stuff that I don't want to say in here. It'd be super, I wish I could just say it. It would be so valuable, but I just can't say it. So if you ever go to hire a subcontractor, you should figure out all your math first and figure out what you need to make after all the expenses. I'll pull up my P&L statement here. I don't know how to pull it up on here, but I can pull it up on my phone. I see some of your comments here. So I don't say things like I can pay you more. I say the business can afford to pay you this much right now. And as soon as the business can afford this, we have these goals, then we can afford this much. And so it's like, I was talking to a friend named Anthony Heyman, who's gotten out of the field recently in his business, and he's getting coached. And I called him up a month ago. We talk all the time on Voxer, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I always thought, quote unquote, getting out of the field would be amazing. He's like, nope, that's when the work actually begins. It's like you climb this whole mountain of being a solopreneur, having people work for you, and then once you actually start to grow the business again, the tables turn, and it's all right, I want to pull up a P&L statement. My friend Dan Plata is going to come out, and we're going to sit right here at this table, and we're going to do like a 2.5 hour long interview. This guy's a financial genius. He owns Blue Skies bookkeeping services. He owns the agency that does the bookkeeping for both my businesses. And the guy has changed my life. He's, I paid thousands of dollars, not thousands of them, probably a few thousand bucks to do a deep dive analysis on both my businesses, find out exactly where the money's coming in, what's happening in the business. And this is something that I was so busy doing all the work that I didn't have time to dial it in and get my QuickBooks organized. And, it was eating me alive. And I finally just coughed up the money, and my life has never been the same since. To see every penny going in and out of your business, and when you start tracking everything, it changes your life and your business and your respect for money. Like, for instance, a 20% rule. Let's say you make a 20% profit margin in your business. You have to go out, and now if you want to buy something that costs $100 a month, you got to go out and generate $500 a month in revenue just to pay for that $100 a month thing, right? Now that thing might actually make you money. So it might be like an asset to your business. But when you truly respect, my wife and I got dinner with a couple friends last night who are into real estate. They're on their way to being millionaires, a couple of my best friends. And they're like, I watched them level up their lives so quick. Like, they got a house in Michigan, just bought like a $500,000 condo, and they own, like, together, I think they own, I don't know, 160 real estate properties, right? They're like, we could literally go buy a mansion right now and brand new Range Rovers and shit. One of them bought a Porsche, but we're not going to do that because then we'll be trapped living above our means. We want all that extra cash flow so we can keep investing in real estate and investing in our businesses. So when you finally earn a high income, if you become addicted to the money and you have a spending addiction and these like neuropeptides and all these, the dopamine and the serotonin in your brain gets addicted to buying things because you think it's going to make you happy and it doesn't. You start looking for the next high and the next high and the next high, and then you become trapped in this cycle of doom. And it traps you. It's not true fulfillment or happiness. All right, let me pull up my P&L here, because I wish I knew this stuff before. So you have cost of goods sold. How much does it cost you to sell things? Like you might sell at $1,000 worth of work, but you have, well, let me look. It's like, let's say if you have 61% cost of goods sold. So it costs you $6,100 to generate 10 grand. Like, it takes money to make money, right? Lawn and landscaping gross profit, marketing and advertising expenses, administrative expenses, fixed overhead expenses, variable overhead expenses, net operating income, net income, owner's distributions, owner's contributions, down payments and loan principals, cash flow from non-assets, and net cash flow. So when you learn all that stuff, I remember there used to be webinars, like Stan Genetic Dirt Monkey would be doing these webinars on multiple overhead recovery. I just got home from work at 7:00 at night, barely get to eat dinner with my wife and take a shower. And I'm so exhausted. You can't access higher levels of thought or financial consciousness when you're exhausted from shoveling rocks all day. And Stan's on a webinar. Dude sold and installed $100 million worth of landscaping in his life. And he's like, this is how you do multiple overhead recovery. And I'm like, multiple overhead recovery? I don't even know what that means. And I'm sitting here I'm trying to watch the webinar, and they've got a spreadsheet up, right? It's a completely, there's lines, levels, states, and stages of consciousness. Okay. And this sounds weird, but hang with me. There's different lines of consciousness and lines of intelligence. Like you could be you can be a great mathematician or an artist or good at computers or musical instruments or singing or playing tennis or building skyscrapers or a phenomenal counselor of people, or like there's all these different things, different lines of intelligence. Now there's different levels within those lines. So you can totally suck at basketball and be a level 1. You can be like Michael Jordan, reach a level 10, the best basketball player, one of the best basketball players of all time. There's different levels, right? So let's just say Michael Jordan, for instance, can become a level 10 in basketball in his skills, heart set, mindset, soul set, everything in basketball in that line of intelligence. But when it comes to like financial intelligence, there's some superstars like a MC Hammer I've heard, I don't know, that went totally bankrupt. I don't know. Some like rock stars don't have any financial intelligence, or you could be like extremely physically intelligent and be able to do like run and jump and do backflips, yet emotionally you're very low IQ. Some people have so there's lines, levels, then there's states of consciousness. I'm gonna close this loop for you. Follow what I'm saying, because this is like I'm saying something that when I used to hear it, it didn't make any sense to me, and now that I'm talking about it, if you could just listen to what I'm saying, this shit changed my life. Okay, lines, levels, states of consciousness, like the state you're in right now. You could be in a place of equanimity and pure love, or just calmness. You could be in a state of anger. You could be in a state of curiosity. You could be in a state of working hard. Whatever states you access over and over and over throughout your day, throughout the moment, throughout your life. And the more emotion and intensity you access those states from, and the longer you hold those states, is the more the neurons in your brain that fire together wire together. So the more often you access, say, anger, is the easier. Like if you imagine a mountain and then there's streams of water, and the more they flow down specific paths, those streams become the trickle flow flood. They become a flow, then a flood, and it becomes a river. And now it's just flowing all the time. And at the snap of a finger, you could become angry, or at the snap of a finger, you could start to experience gratitude. So be very careful what states you allow yourself, or thoughts you hold captive or allowed to, whatever. If you allow yourself to just get angry all the time, I'm not trying to like counsel anybody, but like you could access that easier, right? So if you're in a state of working your ass off in your landscaping business all the time, shoveling the rocks, wearing all the hats, you get so good at being a hardworking guy or girl or neurotic stress ball, because that's what you'll become in your small business, that when it comes time to sit down and actually analyze a spreadsheet and find out, organize your QuickBooks and do all the bookkeeping and the administrative side of the business, you might get really good, become like a level 6 in the production of the business, but you might like have zero conscious dots connected and subconscious dots connected in the administrative or marketing part of the business. So to even try to do that just freaks you out, and you have an anxiety attack. You can't even pay attention to it because it feels like there's no momentum. You feel momentum and productivity when you're out doing the production side of the business, trimming the trees, mowing the lawn, all that stuff. Doing the physical labor makes you feel like the sweat of your brow is making you survive, because your unconscious has linked up survival to getting the money to paying the bills by working hard. But some of the people in the world that make the most amount of money or have the most amount of equity don't do any hard physical work at all. If you study Myron Golden, his pyramid, I'm giving all credit to him. I learned from him. You have implementation as you work with physical muscles in linear time. And those people are the most amount of people. They're the backbone of society, blue collar workers. Amazing. I'm a blue collar worker, and we do all the physical work, but most uncommon do those people make a lot of money or become millionaires. The next level is unification. These are all the people that have 6-figure earners. They're managing other people. It's because you get really good at managing other people and delegating to other people. They're high-level managers in corporations, Fortune 500 and 100 companies, people that learn how to grow their own companies and have teams and organizations of people. People that manage people live in the nice houses, they drive the nice cars, they retire with money in the bank. I'm not saying they become wealthy or anything, but people that know how to manage other people and develop those skills and the administrative skills around that is the people that make more money than people that just know how to work hard. You follow me? Okay, so the next step, Myron Golden taught us, you can look him up on YouTube. The guy's phenomenal. I learned about him from Joshua Latimer. Is the people that make the most amount of money aren't even. I want to draw this out on here, but I'm not going to do it just out of respect for Myron, but I'll keep saying his name because he's awesome. Check him out. He said that the next level is communication. So you have implementation, unification, and then communication. These are the people that make the most amount of money. They're people that are they're hosts of talk shows, TV shows, reporters, podcasts. They're heads of big companies. They don't do any of the work. They don't manage any of the people. They just communicate, and everybody else gets all the shit done. Right? They're phenomenal communicators. So in the beginning, somebody get really mad at me earlier for talking like this. In Genesis, God said, "Let there be light." So everything that is physical in the third density of consciousness that's physical, we're in a physical body, is sound merely condensed to the vibration of this whiteboard, this microphone, this computer, this desk. So when you speak, everything you speak is so powerful. It's a vibration that actually changes and builds realities. You're creating reality through your words. So be very careful what you say to others, and what you say to yourself. You're actually speaking your existence into reality. So people who are great communicators in the business world are usually the ones that are most successful. These are the millionaires and multimillionaires. But at the top of this pyramid, he drew one little tiny slice. This is the 0.00001% of the wealthiest people who have ever walked the planet ever. These are the Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, people who have changed the world forever: Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Martin Luther King Jr., Buddha, Patanjali. I wouldn't even want to put Jesus in that category because he was in the jurisdiction completely above and outside of anything in this world. Like, he was in this world, but not of it. But another phenomenal example. These people were, as Myron Golden put it, in imagination. People that can live in their imagination, and I'm going to say something really profound in a second here. Those are the people who change the world. So let me ask you a question. What's the difference between genius and insanity? There's a fine line. Okay. What's the difference between crazy and eccentric? $1 million. Do you know anybody who's crazy, but they're filthy, stinking rich, and they invent all types of crazy shit? And you love these people, but it's very close to, they could have just been straight up crazy. And some people that are crazy they're just crazy, right? It's like, I'm not saying anything about anybody who's crazy. I'm trying to be mean here. I'm just saying that I'm obsessed with this stuff. So to tie all this in back to what I was talking about, the business and the P&L statements, and if you're working with your physical muscles in linear time, how the hell are you supposed to focus on learning how to do your finances, the math, and the geometry of your business and all this shit? You can't. Why can't you? Because it's in a different state of consciousness. So if there's lines, levels, states, and stages of consciousness, you might have gotten really, really good in one area of your business, which is the production, which is doing all the work. Do the work. It's like if you study Pablo and Bruno and Pablo. My wife was yelling a minute ago. She's like, "Keith!" I'm like, "What?" Because I'm about to go live. She's like, "Where's the credit card?" The Lowe's credit card. She's ordering all the flooring for our basement because Anyways, you get 5% back with the lowest credit card. So I had to stop and go to, anyways, so. All right, listen, where was I at, folks? God, I love this. Oh yeah, so how are you supposed to access those states of consciousness? Well, part of you is going to have to let go. Now let's talk about how do you let go? You have to have what we call epiphany bridges. How often, because that's what you're searching for. When you're scrolling, you're like, I'm not going to watch this Kelfis guy anymore. I'm just going to scroll to the next thing, right? When you're scrolling on Instagram and Facebook Reels and all this stuff, and you're just watching, I mean, this addiction to social media, I think there's a reason why. Of course, these people are brilliant that develop these social media platforms, and they want us to keep watching so they can watch ads and everybody, they can get paid. But how is that changing our lives? But why are we doing it? I think it's because we're looking for an epiphany. We want something that makes us go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I got it, I got it. But not like a crazy idea, oh my God, I got it, and then you don't do anything. An idea that captures you about something you're currently doing or something you want to do. Something new that comes into your life or something new that comes out of you that captures you so much that you're aggressive about it. Like you go out and you change your life. It becomes, you're looking for that fork in the road, either the constraint that forces you to change or something that makes you change according to your own will. But and it becomes, you want the best version of your life possible. You want to be so inspired that you just pop out of bed in the morning like a spring, like a cartoon, and you're just chasing your dreams and they're happening and unfolding, and like you're so happy you can't even control it. Like you want to manifest your destiny. And I think one thing that we can do to make that happen is, which I don't do enough of, is meditation. But 2 is having these epiphany bridges. So like if I were talking about the book by Burke Hedges called The Parable of the Pipeline, you got to read this book. All right, so here we go. Here's Pablo. Can you see that? That's Pablo. And here's Bruno. Anybody in the comments, let me know if you've read The Parable of the Pipeline. And I see all your comments. Bro, I love you, but you've bounced all over the place and I still don't know what you're talking about. If you would just relax and listen. I know I open up loops and they're big loops. I need to shrink down the loops. We've evolved. We're in 2022. All right. All right. Pablo and Bruno, if you read the book Parable of the Pipeline, there's a city, there's a town. It's not a city, it's a town because it's like a couple hundred years ago. And the town, this is the town. The town has a well and needs water. That's my town. Can you see my town? Let me move the microphone. That's my town. Can you see that? Yeah, dog. Okay, so over here is a freshwater stream, and the town needs water, but they don't have any way to get it. So they hold a meeting, and they say, we need to hire 2 contractors, and we're going to pay them well. They'll be part of the union, and we're going to give them buckets, and every day their job is to carry these buckets. I literally can't believe I'm doing this right now. They're going to carry these buckets. They're going to dip them in the stream, and they're going to walk, a mile back and forth and dump them in the well. And they're going to do that all day, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. And that's their good job, and they're going to get paid. And now the town will have water. Well, they go to work. They do this. And Monday morning, they're working all day. They're happy. They're whistling. And there's Bruno and Pablo. They work all week, and they get their paycheck. And then the next week, they're still happy, but they're sore, they're sunburnt, the sun is beating on them, their shoulders hurt from carrying the buckets. And Bruno's still happy, but Pablo is like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm sore and my back hurts. And he looks into the future. He's like, are we going to keep carrying these buckets back and forth forever? This is insane. Like, how long can we do this? And Bruno's like, wait, let's get 1 bucket in each hand. We'll do overtime. So now they're carrying 2 buckets each. They're doing overtime. They're making more money, double the water. But Pablo's not so convinced, and he's getting upset, and he's telling Bruno about this. Pablo's bucking the system, and Bruno's like, shh, shut up. We have a good job. We have benefits. We have overtime. Stop bucking the system. Pablo's not so convinced. The next Monday, he gets an idea in his head. He's thinking about it all weekend, right? And he tells Bruno, he goes, I got this idea. What if we go out at night and on the weekends and we start digging a trench? And I did the math. It could take us about 6 months, but we could actually build a pipeline and then drop pipes in there and a pump. And then we don't have to carry the buckets anymore. And we could patent this whole thing. Like, we could build a business that flows cash flow. And Bruno was like, what? What are you talking about? You're insane. Doesn't make any sense. Well, Pablo didn't listen to him because Bruno, he could not convince Bruno. Bruno was upset about this whole idea. So the weekend comes around, it's Saturday, and Bruno and his buddies are walking, and they see Pablo, and he's at the edge of the stream, and he's digging a trench, and he's only dug like 4 feet, and he's sweating, and he's doing this all day, and they're making fun of him, and they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I told you what I'm doing. I'm digging a trench because I'm going to install a pipeline. Nobody believed him. So he kept doing this at night and on the weekends, and after like 6 months, he dug a pipeline all the way to the well from the stream and primed the pump and got it going, and all of a sudden water was flowing, and the whole town gathered around and they celebrated, and it was so amazing. And like Bruno was at the bar getting drunk and blowing all his money and getting in debt. And basically Pablo is now a genius, and he created a business system that flows cash flow 24/7. And he actually hired Bruno to work on it to make sure the whole thing's working, part-time. And then they asked Pablo, what are you going to do with your newfound wealth? You're a genius. You're an Elon Musk. You're a visionary. Are you going to kick back on the beach and sit in a hammock and drink pineapple juice? He's like, no. Now that I know how to do this, I can build the next one in a fifth of the time, or like a month. I'm going to go find neighboring villages, and I'm going to build these pipelines all over the place. So it's like, if you think like that, this is basically a job versus like business owner versus like investor. If you follow Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, anybody ever read that? You got to read this book. Read it on audible.com. I'm just looking at your comments real quick. Yeah, dog. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just reading the comments. Ray's Lawn and Landscape, Matthews Landscape, Platinum Lawn Services. Yeah, dog. Can everybody see these comments? All right. Okay, so anybody read Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant? You got to read this book. I read it 3.5 times. I've been listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer all day today because I was having some pretty bad anxiety earlier. Dr. Wayne Dyer's the prescription for that. So he says you have E, which is an employee. And then you have S, which is a self-employed. That looks more like a 5. So employee, self-employed. Well, he says that 95% of the people in America only control 5% of the money. And those 95% are employees and self-employed people. That's 95% of the people in America only control 5% of the money. And those are employees and self-employed people. We're self-employed. We call ourselves business owners because we have lawn and landscape businesses, pressure washing, window cleaning. But we're pretty much self-employed. Like, what is the definition of a small business or a business? And They're employees and self-employed people. So they're called E's and S's. And then he starts to talk about S's. Kiyosaki talks about this. If you want, I'll even get into Michael Dell's 3 C's: content, commerce, and community, because this is some deep shit. I'll keep going. What time is it? All right. So S also stands for, self-employed also stands for Superman, because you're the first person that has to be there in the morning to turn on the lights and get everything going, do all the paperwork and make sure the customers take care of it. And you're the last one to leave in the evening to make sure everything's closed and you've swept and clean everything up and make sure everything is locked down and secured. And, you also stands for psycho, because you can become so stressed out and erratic that you can't even enjoy your downtime on the weekends with your families. You finally get, I have a friend in the landscape business. I won't say his name. He works so much for so many years. Anybody can relate to this. By the times he actually does get to go on a vacation with his family and go out of town, as soon as he arrives at the vacation destination, he gets uncontrollably deathly sick and ill, and is sick the whole time, every vacation, because his body is so stressed out that as soon as he stops and pulls the plug, he gets sick and it ruins the vacations. That's how stressed out this guy is. And it's like, I totally relate. I know what that's like to just work yourself to death, and you have all the reasons. Like, I have my family, I got to save for retirement. Oh my God, I have to work constantly. And then you reduce your life down to nothing but utility value, to where if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And then you got people forcing you and putting pressure. Yeah, but you got to relax and enjoy your life. Well, like, I don't know. I watched this video by Grant Cardone, and he's like, dude, if you don't have at least $10 million minimum, one horrible car accident, one unexpected bout of cancer, you could end up homeless and lose everything. You have to be a millionaire, hands down. It's like, he's a Grant Cardone. He has extremely high standards, but think about all that pressure. So self-employed people, and all those people still only control 5% of the money, because they're in the time for money trap, because they're trading time for dollars, units of time. And I had this epiphany yesterday. I was thinking about tributaries and streams and the way nature and Fibonacci sequences and the way water flows. Like, here, I don't have room on the way. Imagine that you have a bunch of streams, just like carrying buckets. If you keep changing hats and jumping from task to task to task, you're literally just carrying buckets in the marketing. Then you stop marketing so you can go do the work. And if you're doing the work and then you're not doing the sales, you're not bringing in new revenue in the business, because you're busy doing work. Until you've built the business up and you've crossed the Rubicon over to B-type business, which are like franchises, McDonald's, corporations, businesses that where the owner can leave 6 months and the business keeps growing without him. Like, this is Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant, where now there's systems in place. So he says that the difference over here is where 5% of the people in America control 95% of the wealth. Why? Because they're called B-type business owners. They're not small business owners. They're B-type business owners. And what's the difference? The difference that makes the difference is that they build systems that flow cash and cover all the areas of marketing, production, administration, sales, without the owner being present. Without the owner being present. And the only way to do that is you have to have margin. Look at companies like Apple, massive profit margins for reinvestment. And some of these businesses, I've read that Amazon will operate on razor thin or even break even profit margins. Like, if you go in the grocery store, if there's loss leaders, like, they don't even make money on milk and other products. I don't know what all the products are. They don't make money on a lot of products. Some products they actually lose money on just to get people in the store, the staples that people need to get all the time, because then they buy all these other things. Before, companies like Macy's, I've read, and their profitability charts, that they're not making any money the entire year, and only in the month of December, when everybody buys Christmas gifts, this multi-$100 million corporation makes like a 1.5 or 2% profit margin in the entire year. They're just operating flatline and they only make profit in the month of December. What type of business could even afford to do something like that unless they've grown so big and gone so far into debt? I mean, you have to have huge, you know what, like Walmart, a massive vision. And what I think about is, what will propel you to do anything like this unless what you do feels like it's lined up with the mission, calling, and mandate and your mind, body, spirit, and soul? It has to be something that drives you so hard that you're willing to do it when you're sick, after a funeral, when you're happy, when you're sad. I saw an interview recently with Elon Musk, who's a visionary, and they asked him like about his emotions, like what drives him. He's like, what are you talking about? The objectives that I have are like, he had very logical reasons why, and he's like, they must be done. Emotions don't even fit, and they're going to be done. It doesn't matter how I feel or how anybody feels. Like, his worldview was so eccentric and so developed that it was almost unrelatable. And you'd be like, what do you mean? In my landscaping business, I work my tail off constantly when I'm sick, no matter what, because I got to make this money. I got to save up for the winter. I got to do this thing. What if this bad thing happens? I have to have money for it. So I've become obsessed with this because I know spiritually there's 7 different laws of truth, and the highest one is spiritual truth. I'll just call it ST. And they all line up. There's social truth, spiritual truth, emotional truth, physical truth, genetic truth. Come on, what are those different? There's 7 of them. It's hard to remember all 7, folks, but I know the top one is spiritual truth. When all of these things line up, that's something that can drive you. Oh yeah, the 4th quadrant is investor quadrant. So these people right here, the 5% that control 95% of the wealth, are B-type business owners and I-type investors. And I-type investors, their money makes them money. They make money with money. And they have, the minimum requirement is $300,000 sitting on the nightstand at all times of just extra capital accredited investors, and they make money with money. How do you cross that chasm? Read the book Cash Flow Quadrant. Okay, let me go back here. Anybody who came in late, I started this talking about how I was going to hire a subcontractor in like a total goofball. I was like, as long as I make 30%, I'm good. And I was going to pay him 70% of all the jobs, and I only keep 30%. And I forgot to calculate all the other math involved. And so I called him back the next day. I was like, dude, I made a big mistake. I can't pay you 70%. I'm an idiot. I can pay you 25 or 30%. He's like, yeah, but then you keep all the 70% and I do all the work. I'm like, no. There's marketing and advertising to bring in the jobs and all the administration and overhead and all this stuff. And then at the end, I would actually end up making less than you. But he's like, what? I thought I was going to make 70%. And then he quit. And I felt like an idiot. You make those stupid decisions. All right, I'm getting burned out here. That was fun. Let me read some of the comments. Oh, look at this guy. Screw your landscaping business. You lie too much. What did I lie about? Oh man. You made my day, bro. Here we go. Maybe I look like I was lying because at the end I started getting nervous because I'm like, am I going too far here? Why am I doing all this? Yes. I love it. These books are Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki. Read Good to Great by Jim Collins. Go on Amazon and buy that book during the winter. Crack it open and read it. It'll show you. It's called Why Most Businesses Fail and What to Do About It. And they track the biggest organizations and how they do it. I mean, this stuff makes me cringe because it's such a massive undertaking. It's like, how are you can okay. Nice. You subcontract and get 50% of the jobs. I would like to know how that works. I didn't say anything. You're not the bad guy. You just made me laugh. Well, you know what, Shane? What would be the first step? You're in the Portland area. I don't know. What do you do? Do you do lawn care or landscaping? A lot of people that watch my stuff do that. You can go online and you can buy online courses about manifesting quantum abundance, and it might literally work, but it's really about getting education on what's right in front of you. Like if you're trying to do hardscaping, ICPI, I don't even know the name is because I never took the course. Literally go fly out and go pay $1,500 to be part of an entire 3-day long hardscaping course and get a certification in it, and go hang out with other hardscapers and get books and go practice and start out small and work your way to become an expert at that skill and buckle down and do it. If you want to learn anything, you have to learn that specific thing and go find someone else who's done it and model what they did. I'm paying somebody right now. Well, actually, I'm happy about it. I was stressed about it for a minute. I'm paying somebody right now $1,000 an hour, but I've only bought 1 hour so far. It's like a very specific coach who's going to help me, who has very specific information, and I'm paying $1,000 for a 1 hour phone call for somebody who's going to help me strategize my business. But I also know that I don't want to say too much, but it's totally going to be worth it. I know that's for sure. And that stuff used to scare the crap out of me. You can go find somebody who has built a business and they do like $500,000 a year or something, and they're doing exactly what you want to do. I'd be like, bro, I'll take you out to lunch, or I'll pay you $50 an hour. Please, I'm a student. I want to learn. I just want to prove I'm serious, and offer them something. And then it's like, the answers are right in front of us. We just have too much ego and pride to ask sometimes. I love what you're saying, Caleb. My issue with subcontractors is when we're the busiest of all in the peak of the summer, when I would like to hire subcontractors because we're overwhelmed with the leads and work, all the subcontractors and people who could do it they're swamped up to their eyeballs. They can't even take on any work. And then when we're slow and we're just doing the work, I'm like, I don't need any subcontractors. I need all the work for my business. They're in the same spot too. It's like the rising tide raises all boats. So have you gotten out of the work aspect completely and you're just a sales and marketing organization? I'm curious of how you're doing that. You're making $100,000 for the first year with another person, Travis. That's awesome. How would you scale next? I don't know. I don't know what you do. I would say keep doing it and buy all the equipment you need, pay it all off, get a plan together, and find someone who's doing $250,000 a year and go model what they did. But that's pretty awesome. $100,000 in your first year. That's beautiful. Congratulations. How can you promote your landscaping business on Facebook to get more jobs? Take a before and after picture of every single job. Looks like crap, looks amazing. Constantly post at least 2 to 3 times a week on your Facebook. You could boost the posts, or you can go inside of the ads platform and it's Facebook Meta now, but business.facebook.com, and open up an actual Facebook ads account through with your business credit card, like a business account. And then you have to create a bunch of creatives and ads. So start taking videos and pictures of your work and carousel slides, and then you would upload all those as ads, and then go put, so say $5 a day between each ad, and then run them all and wait till each one gets at least 1,000 impressions each. And then you collect all the data. Like I have like about 160 ads, between most of them on Facebook. And we have like I have 6 Facebook ads accounts and 2 Google accounts, because we run ads on Google and YouTube. And what was I going to say? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 campaigns. So like for one campaign, I'll literally have 24 to 32 ads, and all of those ads are slightly different and with different creatives, and they're all running to different audiences and different segmented audiences. So you might run in a local, for like a geographic area. For me, I run ads for my service business and for my internet business. So we'll run ads for the entire United States of people who, 1, have subscribed to my email list, 2, have actually visited the website, 3, have actually visited a page or visited and initiated checkout on a page. So there's different levels, and you want to reorganize the ads to the people that are most likely, of people have the characteristics and lookalike audiences of people who have actually bought your stuff before, but you actually don't even want to run any ads before you've actually created the most value, or derive the most value from people who have actually bought something from you before organically, so you don't have to spend any money on ads. So you can hire a ads guy. I have a couple ads guys. One is $60 an hour and the other one is $60 an hour. A YouTube ads guy, he's a Google ads guy, and then a Facebook ads guy. And they're anywhere from 40 to 150, some are $250 an hour on Upwork.com. And they could build out your entire campaign for you and get you going. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you could literally just blow money on Facebook. And like I've probably spent last year, like not a lot, maybe $1,000 a month, 13 to 16,000. I gotta look on Facebook and Google ads. And if you break even, then you're winning, because you got to figure out your customer acquisition cost and do all the math of how much does it actually cost you to acquire a customer. Like if you're trying to sell gutter cleanings and fall cleanups, like if I run gutter cleaning ads to the local geographic area of Sterling Heights, Shelby Township, Macomb. So I'll run it specifically in Shelby Township on my window cleaning page on Facebook. And I've tracked it, and I'm selling gutter cleaning jobs at $53 per acquired paying customer. So I'm like, I paid $53 for somebody to, this is last year. I don't have the exact data because I could pull it up in front of you. I'm like, what? You're paying $53 per qualified lead that turns it? Well, yeah, because if you sell a $200 gutter cleaning job, then they become a customer, and you sell them on a $400 fall cleanup. And then maybe you like power wash your driveway, or you do like a $10,000 landscape job. And then you do 5 rounds, and you put down, door hangers on all the neighbors, and you put a sign in the lawn, and then you get a positive review from them on Google, and you end up picking up 2 other neighbors in the neighborhood. One $53 Facebook ad just now turned into $12,000 in revenue over this next year. So you can like blow it up really, really, really fast for cheap. What's up, Triple D? Oh, how did I learn all the plant names and all that stuff? Dude, I don't really know anything about plants. Like I worked at a huge landscape company, and I was thrown into being a foreman, a crew leader for a horticulture crew of guys that were going to college and getting their horticulture degrees. I felt what's not stupid. I felt intimidated because these guys were like, yes, that's a rose of Sharon, and you need to plant it with 1 inch depth of the root ball just below the surface and the collar of the plant above that, and then do 2 to 3 waterings a week. And it's the rain and drain method where it does a deep soaking of the roots, and then you'd have to prune it down to the node at a 45-degree angle where the split is on the vascular of the rose shrub. So then the epicormic sprouting happens and it grows, and then you got to put this fertilizer, this acidic pH balanced. What are we putting on there? Hollytone on the rhododendrons. And I'm like, what are these guys talking about? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. And then I just kept hanging out with them and asking them questions. And I started learning all these different plant names. And not that I know anything about the plants at all, because I'd be like, God created the plants and we give them all these names. And then by the time I started my business, I just started Googling stuff. And then I realized I could walk around a property with the customer, and Michigan has a lot of the same plants. I'm like, yeah, that's Stella Doro Day Lily. We can pull out the stalks and then we can trim the perennials back. And then we can, and I started saying all this stuff, and the customers were like, he knows what he's talking about. And I had this one client, she told me something interesting. She's like, you don't have to know everything. You have to know just enough to be dangerous, whatever that means. You just gotta learn 60 plant names. And so go get a book. I bought a book called The Michigan Gardener's Guide. I don't know what state you're in, but there's gardener's guides. Go on eBay or half.com and go buy these used books and sit around in the winter thumbing through and look on Google and get plant identifier apps and challenge yourself to learn one new plant per day, right? And then every time you see that plant, remember it and then tell your employees. So when I walk around with the guys who work for me on a job site, I'm actually naming off all the plants as we're going. I'm like, that's a hydrangea. The reason it's pink is because the soil is more alkaline. And when it's dark or purple, it's a more acidic type soil. And then you should prune it like this and deadhead it. And I'll give them an example. This is a rhododendron. This is an azalea. They're super sensitive. This is a spruce tree native to Colorado. This is like why it has. And then I hang out with like, and the only reason I know that shit is because I hung out with these other people who know it better than I do. I don't really know anything. I hung out with this certified arborist for a while. He's really awesome, named Daniel Miraval. He's like a master certified board. He's like one of the best in the world. And we're looking at like spruce trees. He's like, you can see that it has lichen's disease and cytosper canker. I'm like, cytosper canker? What is this? He's like, it needs what does it need? It has girdled roots and it needs an injection, and we need to do oh God, he was talking about all this stuff. And I'm like, and then I look back and he's wearing a white coat. He's like, this is white collar landscaping. And that's why I make literally $1 million a year to just walk around and talk to customers. Oh God. So you can make a lot of money doing this shit. Look at these tangents I go on. All right. I need to calm down. Ooh. Cardinal Wazinski. I got to write this down. All you who labor. By Cardinal Wazinski. Okay. I'm going to get it. Oh, and one other thing. We built a survival garden, my wife and I, and we had like tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and zucchini and green peppers and carrots. Carrots didn't do too well, but all year long. And I built this whole thing, and I started them from seedlings and learned all about gardening because we spent last winter watching a YouTube channel called The Rusted Garden. We watched like 50 videos, and every time we had a question, we went on YouTube, and at night we'd pop popcorn and watch gardening videos, and we learned, and we built an entire garden. And so it's like whenever you get interested and fascinated and you just focus, you can really learn anything. I love that. Basically, I just answer phone calls, schedule, and act as a secretary and send out subcontractors to do the work. It's pretty nice to be able to run the business from anywhere. Boom. Anybody here wants to get out of the field in their business, read exactly what he just said. That's his reality. Basically, I just answer the phone call, schedule, and act as the secretary, send out subcontractors to do the work. It's pretty nice to be able to run the business from anywhere. I want you to imagine that you're going to get into a service that you don't even know how to do. You have no clue how to do it. And your hands are tied behind your back and you have no choice but to go find someone who's really good at that because they do it every day. And your only way to make money is to just get really good at selling it and communicating with customers and closing the jobs. And then you just got to trust that they know how to do it. I'm not saying you should ever do this. I'm just saying, like, imagine that you were not allowed to do the labor, period. Your hands are tied behind your back. You're not allowed to do it. What would you do? How would you make money? At some point, you would have to let go and just trust the other people to do it, or otherwise you're not going to survive. So if you play kind of like these mental head games and think about it, like, how would I make that work? Because there are people that run entire businesses and agencies that they're like, what are you talking about? There are people that literally, they grew up and they were born and they were bred into a lifestyle of people that just buy and sell multi-million-dollar businesses. They would never think of even running the business or working in the business or being an employee or being on the administrator. They buy and sell businesses and they're doing transactions in the millions. And if you went up to them and you asked them, you'd be like, how do you do this? How did you get there? They're like, what are you talking about? Get away from me. Why are you acting weird? Like, it's like, there's no tension. It's just a structure that's normal to them. Does this make sense? I'm obsessed with this stuff. You need good labor. That's the holdup. I don't know. My landscape business is small, so it's not hard for me to find a few guys each year here and there. If you have 10 crews, I got no idea. You're overwhelmed with my knowledge and prosperity. I don't think so. I think, you know what really knowledge is? Knowledge is action, because knowing is doing. I bought this course one time for like it was $1,200 from this guy on YouTube who's a business coach. This is back when I was like kind of broke. And I freaked out because I went inside of the course and I was like, wait a second. It's just not what I thought it was at all. And I panicked and I wanted my money back. And then the guy messaged me and he's like, I'm so embarrassed that I'm admitting this. He's like, bro, I want to encourage you to just stay in the course. I'm like, yeah, but I already know all this stuff. He's like, then why aren't you doing it? I'm like, what are you talking about? I already know it. He goes, no, bro, knowing is doing. Knowing is doing. And then I started to think about that. There's this time in your life when you can feel like you're going insane because you're trying your hardest and you're not seeing anything level up around you. And going back to the lines, level, states, and stages of consciousness, the number one thing, I'm not anywhere, well, I guess I'm where I always wanted to be, but I'm not anywhere where I want to be. Does this make sense? What got you here won't get you there. The number one that I could think, Bradley Briggs, get around people who are really successful and have what you want. When I would go to these live events around like Brandon Vaughn and Kurt Kempton and Joshua Latimer, these guys all own multi-million-dollar businesses, and Patrick Clark and these Conquer coaches and Bobby Walker and people that have built $1-million automated businesses. It's like, I haven't done any of that stuff yet, but I would get around them. And also friends like in my internet business that cross the 6-figure mark. And they're now into the millions. I would pay attention to how they processed their thoughts and how they thought about that. And the biggest breakthrough or epiphany bridge, that's what I wanted to say. The epiphany bridge. The biggest epiphany. Yes, this is it. The biggest epiphany bridge. Sometimes we think about this in terms of not happiness or for fulfillment, but income. How do I double my income? So here's Hell Island. And this is like, I don't know, we'll just call it Heaven Island. All right, so if you feel like you're stuck in like hell, hey, I have felt that way. I don't know about you, but before. And you want to get to like your dreams and where you feel happy and fulfilled. Well, but there's water in between. Like, how are you going to get there? What is the bridge to get there? Because there is a bridge. And what I am learning is it's epiphanies. So I would get around friends that had what I wanted and listen to the way that they talk and communicate and the way they process thoughts. And here is one of the big epiphanies. All the shit that they had that I dreamed of having, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Why are you freaking out? Like, all you do is ABC, and then you connect that to X, Y, and Z, and then you'll make an extra 10 grand a month. It's like easy. You're not doing this already? You're Keith Kalfas. I see you on YouTube. You literally you haven't even crossed that much money yet? Oh my God, I thought you were like balling, bro. Oh my God, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Like, and I felt so stupid, and I would pace around and like clench my fist. And I was so mad, and I was embarrassed to open up to anybody. And then like, I just let down my ego. I was like, dude, I need help. I'm not crushing it. They're like, all right, bro, you do ABC, and then you connect it to XYZ, and then you have this epiphany bridge that the shit that you really want, other people have it, and it's just normal to them. And like, if you're reaching for it and you feel like you're going insane, that feeling of reaching for it always keeps you stuck. You have to level up inside of your consciousness and set new boundaries and standards, and you raise your standards and draw lines in the sand. Like last year, my new nickname I called myself, I'm weird at this stuff, New Year's Day last year. I think it was last year. I wasn't this year. It was last year. I was like, that's it. I'm 5K Kelfus. Yeah, I'm serious. 5K Kelfus. I don't even care if I'm scared anymore. I ain't doing shit for under 5K. Okay. So it was certain things that are 5K that I needed to be charging 5K for. But just that raised the standards on so much stuff that it actually got me in trouble. I'm about to share something very vulnerable that might create a huge epiphany bridge for you. Ooh, Anthony Hill just said something amazing. See, this might be your night tonight. I'm going to get back to what I was saying. He just mentioned somebody that you can watch for free on YouTube that I am so grateful this man uploads this stuff to YouTube. Because he doesn't have to, because he's worth gobs and gobs and gobs of money and has helped so many people. And he's one of the OGs. He's considered the marketing god. His name is, and I'm only mentioning it this one time because this is like, it's not top secret, but his name is Jay Abraham. If you go on YouTube and you look up Jay Abraham and go download this guy's books on audios, just the way he talks and thinks about business and marketing will connect so many dots for you. You might even be like, what are you talking about? This didn't even change my life at all. No, trust me. The things he talks about will plant seeds in your subconscious that will grow in the future. And your life in 1, 2, 3 years would be in a totally different place just by being exposed to Jay Abraham's lines, his genius, his intelligence. He's helped. His clients have made billions of dollars because of his ideas, and he's a geometric thinker, so to speak. He takes you out of linear thinking and makes you think geometrically. What if everything that you thought about was geometrically, right? What if you were like, I'm not even going to take on a landscaping customer on a one-off job anymore unless we're going to sell them all these different services. We're going to put them on a package and a plan. We're going to get their neighbors. We're going to create a referral marketing and generation lead system. We're going to do this. We're going to get the review. We're thinking about the lifetime value of this customer. Like, what if you were thought like that far in advance and it's geometric and you're already planning like 5 years down the road? That's how Jay Abraham thinks. Is it a bad idea to start a luxury service during a recession? I don't know. I know I started my business after the recession. It was like 2011. And I started getting into higher end neighborhoods because during a recession, people who have money always spend money. They don't stop living their high lifestyle when they have tons of disposable income. Only like supposedly, middle and lower middle class and poor people can't afford. So it depends on what type of businesses you start and what luxury service you are. So you said, should I start a luxury service during a recession? If you offer luxury services to people who buy luxury services who have disposable income, then of course you should start a luxury service business during a recession, because a lot of other businesses will be going under. And that's when you'll be able to get in and get a whole new clientele, and you'll be able to grow your business the fast, because a rising tide raises all boats. There's an amazing book called Why the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins. He wrote Good to Great. Read that. It's amazing. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Jasmine's pools. You do window cleaning on the side. You land 300 to 700 jobs all the time. If you understand how to, I wrote a book called, where is it? Where did it go, man? Where's my books? I want to show you my books, man. Because this is a great epiphany. Maybe I'm not supposed to show you the book. I literally had all three of them right here. It's called How to Make $500 a Day Cleaning Windows. And the entire premise of the book is around why you should perceive and treat window cleaning as a luxury service. You can get this book on Amazon, Kindle. You can go into Barnes and Nobles and order it, get shipped to you, but you probably don't want to do that. You can go on audible.com and you can download the book. So my window cleaning business was failing miserably, and I wasn't making any money, and I was pulling my hair out. And although window cleaning is only like 30% of our business now, because I'm spread too thin. But I didn't start actually making money doing window cleaning until my mindset shifted. And I got some really powerful advice from a mentor. And he said, what are you doing? You're going around trying to convince people to let you clean their windows. And I talk about this in the book. I have a YouTube channel. We just hit 16,000 subscribers. It's called The Window Cleaning Blueprint. And this helps with landscaping as well. As soon as you realize, oh my God, this is a luxury service. It's not a necessity to do people's landscaping, maybe cut their grass, but their windows or power washing, and most of this is a luxury service. So you want to find people and market to people who have the socioeconomic strata, and they're the avatar of people who actually have disposable income and already buy luxury service and drive BMWs and drive nice houses and go on vacations and have outdoor saunas and pools and jacuzzis, and they get their windows clean, and a $600 or $700 window cleaning bill for their 3,200 square foot house is not even it's normal to them, right? And you get your foot in the door with these people. Like, we have some mansions that are, 10,000 square feet, and we have window cleaning jobs from $962 to $1,500 window cleaning jobs that we do. And we have another job, I think it's like $600 every time we clean the windows inside and out. And the startup cost is so low. It's a squeegee, a scrubber, a belt, some Dawn dish soap, and an extension pole, and maybe like a ladder. And then you can literally go And you can make by yourself, if you hustle your ass off physically, you could do $1,200 a day in revenue at a 70. I mean, by yourself. And if you had someone helping you, oh God, anywhere from a 50 to 70% net profit margin, because you don't have any overhead materials. It's just squeegees and soap, man. But I'm talking about the highlight reel. People don't make, there are people who have multi-million-dollar window cleaning businesses, but they don't actually, and doing soft washing and pressure washing, but they're not telling you how freaking hard it is to get to that point, to go all through the head trash and the crappy clients, and then positioning your business. And so you attract those type of customers. Because there's a book by Mike Dillard called, Magnetic Marketing is by Dan Kennedy. This is called Attraction Marketing. God, I can't think of it. Read Magnetic Marketing by Dan Kennedy, and the book. He has something that got leaked on YouTube. It's called a Wealth Attraction DVD, and it's like 6 hours long. This will change your life. And he talks about marketing to the affluent. He also has a book called A Wealth Attraction for entrepreneurs, and he talks about how to the mindset of how to sell services and sell business to the affluent, to people who are wealthy, and getting you out of like the broke mindset, and understanding that, like, you might have some friends. I have friends that are, they make millions of dollars, and they're like, what are you talking about? Dan Kennedy will help you with that stuff. What if I have no idea what type of business I want to get involved in, but I feel like I want to be in business for myself? That's amazing. I have no idea. I don't know. Awesome. I love it. So I want to get back to this Epiphany bridge. $80 per man hour. That's good. I was trying to shoot for $82 per man hour, and I'm not getting it in Michigan. It's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah, people are always spending money like crazy. That is true. Go back to the vulnerable part. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I was talking about Epiphany, something that was vulnerable that I was going to tell you, but it would probably create a big breakthrough for you. Yes. Let me figure this out. God, I had this huge epiphany. I can't think of it. I'm not even making this up. I'm going to have to keep talking until I figure it out. Thanks, Travis. Hell Island, Heaven Island. There's an epiphany. ABC, XYZ. I literally can't think of it. You started your window cleaning business this year? That's awesome. I love it. There's a Facebook group that you should join called Into the Flow. That's what it is. Join the group Into the Flow and dive in there. It'll excel your window cleaning business and blow your mind. The people in there are really smart. What do I think about Tiggy Gertz? Are you talking about Tigran? I was just at the GIE, or the Equip Expo, 2 weeks ago, and he called me, and I didn't pick up because my phone didn't ring, and I called him back. Then he didn't pick up. Then he called me back, and I picked up. He's like, "What's up, dog? Hey, where you at, man?" I was like, what's up, Tigran? And then I was like, yo, I already left the expo, but I'll be there tomorrow. He's like, where are you going to be at, dog? I'm like, well, I'm going to be here. He's like, oh, shit. All right, well, if I see, I see. If I don't, I don't. I'm like, well, I need to come to California and make some dope-ass videos with you, bro. He's like, all right, cool, anytime. All right, peace. I think Tigran Gertz is a genius, and I think he's a unicorn. He might disagree with this. I have no idea. He's incredibly rare the way that he thinks. He's not afraid to take risks. I have never seen him with bags under his eyes. And for anybody who doesn't know what this guy is that I'm talking about, sorry. There's this guy, he's a real guy. He owns a landscaping business. He did like 1.4 million his first year, then 2.3 million. Now he's like at 5 or 6 million. And every single one of his YouTube videos, he's buying $100,000 truck, a new dump trailer, this, a new Bobcat, a skid loader, a steer, this, and he's doing these massive $100,000 landscape jobs back to back to back to back to back to back to back, and they're beautiful work. He shows you the work. It's like, it's mind blowing, like a magazine. And in his videos, he never has bags under his eyes, and he's always just happy as shit. He's like, what's up, dog? My name is Tigran, and everything I touch turns to gold. And when you watch his videos, like if you're new in the business or you're struggling, you might be like, how is this guy doing this? This is impossible. It's like, it just throws you a total curveball because the guy he's just brilliant. He's brilliant. And he actually adds value back to the, like if he has something called this thing called the Goat Gang. I was in it for like a year and it was amazing. Like he teaches you the pitfalls and trials and errors of how he runs his landscaping business. And he creates a lot of value and gives back to the community. And he's helped like thousands of people start businesses. And people that want to move fast and get into luxury hardscaping, check out Tigran. But if you're afraid of risk, you might not be able to move as fast as he does. I don't know what market he's in or how he does it. I know he's a huge fan of Grant Cardone, and he's walking living proof that you can scale really, really fast. The guy like just bought like a Lamborghini. He's awesome. That's what I think about Tigran. Oh yeah, my book. I just had it, man. Let me look one more time. I love promoting my books. I'll share something funny with you. Audible.com did this thing where they stopped depositing. I didn't fill out this piece of paper. It's Amazon. Like I have books on audible.com. I have audiobooks. And I've sold thousands of copies. And people of all over the world have bought my books. Like they're Amazon bestsellers. I think it was last fall. I randomly, check my bank account every day. And I got like $6,500 appear in my bank account. I was like, where did this come from? Was this a mistake? I need to get on the phone with Amazon. And I realized that I thought one of my books had stopped selling and just kind of trickled off and fizzled out. But really it was ramping up and selling for like a few months. And I don't know. I just checked one box for direct deposit. And then like the next week, a $6,500 just appeared in my bank account, book royalties, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And things like that kept happening for like 3 months straight. Big checks just kept showing up from every different angle unexpectedly. And I was just like walking around like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm just making all this money. And I just like, I had like I don't know, it was like a $65,000 month of just money coming in. And it was like, I don't know, it was weird. Here, let me show you. Oh, this whole time, the books were right here. Now I got to run all the way around. This book, I'm writing, I should be writing another book this winter. The goal is to write one book every other year. This book's called How to Start a Landscaping Business Right Now with No Startup Money. It's a fun book to read. and you can get it on audible.com. If you're brand new, just starting your business, this kind of like helps you get over the mental hurdles and gets you excited and ready to take action. It's not a deep dive analytic book that talks about the administrative side and the legal startup and all this complex stuff. It's more of a fun book that's just like a rah-rah motivational type of, it's for a specific person in a specific time. I've gotten mixed reviews on this book because there's a couple of misspellings in it and things like that. And it's like, but this book means so much to me because this is when I was going through hell in my life. And I actually got my business over the 100K mark, and I wrote about it. And I just had a pledge that I wanted to lay down with my face in the mud and let people walk across my back. And I still do that today to start their businesses. And I'm proud to say that I think if I could quantify it, my videos and materials have helped start about 10,000 businesses. The next book I wrote was when I got the window cleaning business off the ground and we got hundreds of clients, and I had the epiphany that window cleaning is a luxury service. I wanted to go out and defeat the whole mindset and create a big case study testimonial that anybody who is not afraid to go out and fail your ass off, and so you can go out and make bank cleaning windows. And people were making fun of me on the window cleaning forums because I didn't know that the window cleaning industry even existed, like at the level it does. For anybody that doesn't know, the window cleaning services is like an $80 billion a year industry. And the window cleaning, soft washing, pressure, there's pressure washing resource.com, window cleaning resource.com, Detroit Sponge, Into the Flow. There's the International Window Cleaning Association. There's massive organizations where thousands of people go every year. They're part of these forums. They pay to be part of this. There's training, there's workshops. It's an entire industry. And I was just some punk guy, and it's like making all these videos like, yeah, dog. And people were kind of pissed off at me and making fun of me, saying how to make $500 a day cleaning windows. Who does this guy think he is? This guy's an idiot. You can make $1,500 or $5,000. Why is he shooting so low? What is it? And to me, $500 a day cleaning windows at the time, I'm like, dude, if I made $500 a week in my dead end landscaping job and I couldn't make the bills when I got, married and I was trying to get a house and all that. And this was, back in the day, but, and this book went on to be a bestseller, and Joshua Latimer at the top. Keith went from being flat broke in a dead end job to owning a successful 6-figure business in 2 years. Joshua Latimer, founder of Automate, Grow, Sell. When you listen to this on audible.com, I mean, this is a real book. It has mindset, pricing, the structure of a business, how to do everything. Like, and there's an entire online course for each of these books, are their own brand with their own online course. Excuse me. And it helped a lot of people. This is the third book that I wrote called Your First Year in the Landscaping Business. I wanted to write this book for like 3 years. And like when you boil like a pot of tea and then it just starts screaming and you got to turn the fire off. I think it was two winters ago, we were driving home from like Chicago or something, and I just snapped. My wife was driving and I took out my phone and I just started typing obsessively and compiling and I wrote this whole thing in like a couple of weeks and just poured out of me. Then we spent the next 6 months editing it and revising it and doing the graphic design and artwork. And this book's a real tearjerker. You can get this on audible.com. Man, if you're in your first year, especially second year, but especially first year in your landscape business, if you read this book or especially listen to the audiobook, like I start crying in the audiobook, and it's not like crying like a little whistle. It's like I'm clenching my fists with tears dripping down my face like a straight up warrior soldier as I was recording this book, talking about the hell that you go through and the level of conviction that it takes for you to charge through the failures and the long, hard days and nights that you go through and staying up all night in anxiety with your stomach turning, trying to get your business stable. It's really, really, really hard. And a lot of people don't talk about that. Like I have a chapter in here. Other people might laugh at me that have $1 million businesses. Chapter 2, the story of my dump trailer. I talked about how I was terrified to go out and buy like a $7,000 dump trailer. Today it's like 10 grand for the same trailer because of inflation. And the day is like I had 2 trucks. They were both broke down. And then I had my third truck, which was my brand new truck. And I definitely wasn't going to pile all the branches. Basically, my trucks broke down and I had 3 trucks. And the guys were working on a job site and they had nowhere to put any of the rubbish, and they kept just piling it on the curb, and I was watching it higher and higher, and I'm calling the mechanic, and my trucks weren't going to be fixed for weeks, and I was terrified. There's like people would laugh for this, like, what do you mean? I own 5 dump trailers and I have 6 crews and 7 pieces of real estate. This guy's afraid to buy a dump trailer? Dude, when you're first getting started and you don't have $100,000 in the bank, yes, you are afraid to go out and buy a $7,000 dump trailer. And if you don't have any credit, 7 grand is a lot of money. So I was talking about the constraints when your back is against the wall. At that moment, it hit me. I was like, I have to go right now, this moment, and go buy a dump trailer. And I will. So I told my guys, they're piling the shit up on the curb of this customer's property. We got nowhere to put it. And I can't stuff it in the back of our box trailer. So I made one phone call and I showed up an hour later with a brand new dump trailer, and instantly the guys didn't even flinch. They just started filling up the dump trailer, and then I went and put sidewalls on it. And next thing, it's filled up to the top, and I go to the dump and I press a button and the dump trailer goes, and I just drive off. I was like, oh my God. And then it's like, I thought I did the math and I thought it would take like 2 or 3 years to pay this thing off. Dude, I paid the thing off in like 2 months. It made me so much money because it sped up productivity so fast that it just blew my mind, and it changed my belief systems. Something as simple as a dump trailer. Like if you're in the tree business and you cut down trees and you're stuffing it in the back of the trailer and chopping it up, then one day you finally get a chipper and it just changes the whole game for you. I talk about like these I'm sorry, I'm going on and on. These first year struggles and the stuff that you go through. I'm going on too much about this, but if anybody ever wants to write a book, I encourage you, follow your heart and find some time and write the book that you've always wanted to write, and market it and promote it, and do it from a place of really wanting to help and serve people. And you should write your book. Sorry. KeithKelfis.com. You can find all my books. I've tried to work on eliminating value from services for people in this jacked economy. I don't understand what that means. My brain doesn't get it. I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Landscaping with Chris. Epiphany. Oh. Yeah, so what he's saying, hustles and hobbies, you made me believe I could start my landscape business. It changed my life. Never equate your value of $1 was an epiphany. I hope I am interpreting what you're saying. So there was this epiphany that I had when you talk about like landscaping as a luxury service. So if you're showing up and you're afraid to charge what you're worth and you don't know your worth, I actually have a talk called Know Your Worth. You might be judging according to what your budget is and what you're like, I could never afford to spend $3 grand on this. The customer is not going to pay that. Some of your customers are in a completely different reality, or $3 grand, that's nothing. They literally just spent $30,000 on this crazy luxury jacuzzi and $80,000 on having a whole sunroom installed on the back of their house. They just spent $600,000 on an up north luxury vacation home, and they just got a new BMW. Now they're flying to Hawaii. They're putting their kids through college. They're getting a grand piano delivered. They're making money and spending it like crazy, and doesn't even mean anything to them. They're balling. And then you come up with your little $3,000 landscaping bill. You really want to charge $4,000. That's what it's worth. And you're like, oh, I know it's like $4,000, but I really need the money and I'm afraid they're going to say no. So I'll do it for $3,000. And you hand them the bill and you hand them a quote for $3,000, super undercutting yourself. And they go, okay, when can you start? And you're like, whew, okay, we can start this time. And you keep doing this over and over, and it's like you're being drug along the bottom. And it's like, if you've had customers before, you try to charge what you're worth, and for some reason they said no, but you didn't understand it was just a numbers game, and you actually built an identity and belief system that the customers aren't willing to pay what it's worth. Some of them aren't. That's just the truth. But it's not a total truth. It's a partial truth. It's not an absolute truth. It's not a gradient. And when you pull your mind and your emotions out of it and you objectify it and you look at it for what it is, there are people that are in totally different financial realities. So when you bid the job at what it's actually worth and you find out what other landscapers are charging, and you can basically go out and make way more money off of one little tiny mindset tweak, mindset shift. We've done landscape jobs, 10, 12, 15, 18, $20,000 at a 50% gross profit margin. And we're doing these landscaping jobs, and the customer comes out, they're like, I was thinking, I really like the work you guys are doing. Can you install a whole roll of arborvitaes right here? And I'm like, yeah, it would be like $2,300. They're like, okay, add that on. I'm like, okay, all right. And they're like, I've had clients that just want more and more and more and more and more. They can't spend the money fast enough, and I'm overwhelmed because I can't do the work fast enough for the money that they want to spend, and they're pissed. And they'll go hire a bigger company who could just spend their $100,000 much faster. Like, there's customers like that everywhere. And when you understand that, my favorite saying is get in where you fit in. So think about that, Epiphany. Think and Grow Rich. That's an amazing book. There's people who study that book and read it every year. I need to tighten this thing. You hear it squeaking? Craigslist advertising. Be careful. I don't know what it is. I think it might be Craigslist. So I don't know for sure. We run ads on Craigslist sometimes. My business line has got out to all this spam crap texting my phone. Is this happening on your phones too? So now I'm leery about putting my phone number on Craigslist. I have been saving up for my first Airbnb, and I'm looking around right now. I want to do like a sublease thing if I can rent out a place and then Airbnb it so I don't have to buy it. I don't know yet. I love it. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, bro. Mold Squad restoration and contracting. Whatever you do, you're in a market where you can make a lot of money with insurance and doing mold restoration. I love it. Nice. My dump trailer, how many yards? Well, it could hold like 10 at the very tippy top, but like 8 is the max. I think I do like 6 yards, and that's enough. It's not even a big dump trailer. I want to get like a 14-footer. It's like literally a 6.5 by 10 with big sidewalls. So it's small. So I suggest if you have a 2500 series truck, you should never get smaller than a 12-foot dump trailer. The bigger, the better. What's stopping me from having $1 million operation? Nothing. My landscaping business, I'm not growing it on purpose, and I'm actually getting some coaching if I want to shut down the whole window cleaning business or not. I'm thinking about this and then with the landscaping, I just don't want to be part of doing any of the labor or anything. I want to find somebody who can run the business for me so I can focus on my media business. And I'm trying to grow. My goal this year was $1 million, and I'll be lucky to hit 400,000 in total revenue between both businesses. What is stopping me? Probably my self-limiting beliefs. And I'm afraid of being so confident that I would be like an egotistical maniac. So I have identity issues and poverty thinking. To even hit, we'll probably do 375, 400,000 if we're lucky this year. If you'd have told me that anytime in my previous 5-10 years ago, I would have like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But now that I'm here, I feel frustrated. Like I'm at like hitting a glass ceiling, like on a plateau, and it's not growing fast enough. So I'm like pulling my hair out, trying to get past $1 million, and I'm only at where I'm at. And so what is stopping me? Self-limiting beliefs, just like anybody else. What up, though? Do I still do one-on-one consultations every Monday? KeithKelfis.com/call, and then we can get on the phone. Nice. Awesome. Thanks, man. Wow. I used to DJ weddings and would quote a 4 to 5 hour wedding at $1,200, and people would decline, but then spend $3,000 on centerpieces or flowers. I was at a wedding one time, and these people were multi-millionaires, and they spent, I think it was $250,000 just on the roses alone. You say, how is that possible? Bro, I'm talking monster centerpieces of pure, beautiful red roses. Every staircase in the whole building, they ran out the whole, like, multiple halls. The staircases were wrapped in roses. And there was huge ice sculptures with roses and, like, people serving hors d'oeuvres and wine and shrimp. It was, like, over $1 million for this wedding. And it was, like, insane. But it's crazy how people perceive value. The same person that will turn you down for $1,000 landscape or window cleaning job will literally go buy $100,000 BMW the same day. Because they just don't care. People have value different things. They just don't care. It's not like your service isn't valuable. Like you're going to have 5 customers that are all neighbors and they all live in $1 million houses. And one will be the cheapest customer in the world. The next one will pay you whatever you want. Next one will be middle of the road, and you'll get different results. It's like, nice. 4 to 5 hotels. Have I done anything different during this recent recession? We're cranking up the marketing more to keep leads coming in. We haven't been as busy this year as normal. Usually we're just buried in work, and now we're always just booked out a couple weeks. I have joined Joshua Latimer's Recession Marketing on Facebook. It's an amazing private Facebook group, but he took all of the content down as of this last couple days, so nobody can view it anymore. And he charges it's like he's got this thing called the War Plan Insiders Recession. It's a private group. It's like $5,000 to get in. And like I joined the thing, and I'm learning mind-blowing marketing stuff anyways, I'm learning that the really, really, really high level stuff that changes your life, to get around those people or to learn from them, you just got to like open your wallet and pay them. And then money gives you access, and money compresses time. So instead of going out and buying like a crotch rocket, go spend all the money on education and consulting for yourself, and then that will compress time for you and make you more money. Wow, the key to success is having an amazing salesman. Of course, because the answer to that solves all your problems in your business is sales solve all problems. There's an amazing thing I learned from my friend DJ Carroll. His name is Coach Carroll, and he has multiple businesses. He's brilliant. In your service business, check this out. This is a golden nugget. He said, even though you own your service business, you still have to be a salesman and treat it as though if you don't sell, you don't eat. Because a real salesman doesn't feed his family. He doesn't get paid unless he sells something. So as a service business owner, you let yourself off the hook all the time. You give the customer a quote, you don't follow up, whatever. But as a salesman, you're following up with every single lead. You're not even showing up to their house unless you pre-qualify them, and you're showing up to collect a signature and a deposit. You're so serious when you strictly do sales. So when you consider yourself to be a salesperson and you wear that hat, you're all in and you don't let yourself off the hook. That was very, very powerful for me when he said that. And I still don't do it all the time because when you wear so many different hats, it's exhausting. So he said the secret is to have an amazing salesman who specifically focuses just on sales and sales alone. If you take the 50 or 60 hours a week that you work in your business, get rid of all the other responsibilities. And if you just did sales and marketing constantly, and you were out every single day, Monday through Saturday, quoting and selling and quoting and following up with customers and marketing and advertising, you could probably 10x your revenue if you had the production capability to do it. I'm not saying you have the capacity to even do all the work, but as a salesperson, you could 10x the revenue in probably a freaking year because that's all you'd be focusing on, right? So that's a phenomenal point if you actually extract and break down what he's saying here. Yasvani's landscaping. I love it. Now, I wanted to get back to this Epiphany, Hell Island, and Heaven Island, but I literally can't even think of what I was going to say. Something about hitting rock bottom. There's this interview on YouTube with Dane Cook, the famous comedian, getting interviewed by Ed Milet. It's on Ed Milet's YouTube channel. It's amazing. Somewhere around the 13-minute mark to the 22-minute mark, Dane talks about being at rock bottom and not knowing if you can even do this anymore or if you're even good enough, but placing your bets on yourself. And he said that when you're at rock bottom and you're going through that emotional failure and not believing in yourself, there's so much value there and so much data and so much introspection that happens and so much that humbles you as a human being. My wife does that for me so much. There was a time last year I hired a full-time videographer to follow me around, and we were making all these fun and entertaining videos, but we got carried away to the point where we were making like these practical joke videos, and I was having so much fun. And I was getting off the path of what I really, really love is just helping people from the bottom of my heart and being transparent, funny Keith Kelfis. Like I finally got my dream of like making enough money on the internet to be able to hire all these virtual assistants. So we have like a team of, we had 21 people, and that was like a core team of 10 people in the media business, and a full-time videographer helping me, who's a super talented dude who's very creative and could literally have his own TV show. And this guy was like helping be like creatively direct the videos. And we were making these funny ass videos, but they weren't very valuable, right? And when we decided to go our separate ways, and I just got back to the main thing, it's another epiphany I had. My wife was standing there, and she's like, was talking about how the most important thing that she can see from the outside that I should be focusing on is just being me in front of the camera. And I feel so vulnerable sharing this. I went to the Equip Expo last year, and I wanted to bring a video. If anybody wants to get into social media marketing, have your own YouTube channel and become an influencer, whatever that you call it, this is really important. You feel like you want to get to a point where you can have somebody videotape you and you could just walk around and they're editing the videos and you could just like delegate it out so you can finally just be the guy on stage who you like finally reach this point. And then when you finally get there, you realize it doesn't even exist. It's this hollow thing that was something in your head. It's not even real, because what got you here won't get you there. Where the real thing that even got you there was just doing the real thing. Does this make sense? And I realized that the videos that I had made that had gotten hundreds of thousands, or even some have millions of views, these videos are videos I made with my freaking cell phone, walking around at Home Depot, crying in front of a camera, giving a testimonial about how I've had epiphanies that have completely changed my life and helped me build a business and get a house and feed my family and finally be able to not be poor anymore. And this was done with my phone in a selfie video. That's what people want to see. I don't really know what type of content you subscribe to, but you got to get back to the basics. I remember you have to watch the documentary, Michael Jordan, the Bulls documentary on Netflix. It's life-changing. Michael Jordan got to the point where he got so, I can't even relate to this, but so famous and so good at basketball, and they won all these championships, that now he was getting the major sponsorships and brand deals, and he was making millions of dollars and getting invited to these Hollywood parties, and where he became a multinational celebrity. Well, he started going to these parties and doing all these different endorsements and all these things that didn't have anything to do with the game of basketball. And he started failing, and they didn't win a championship that year. And he was all over the place and not focused. And he had to make this really tough decision to let go of everything except for like Nike and the highest paying couple things. And he got back in like 5 o'clock in the morning, waking up, and back to the game of basketball. And he just put the blinders on and got 100% focused and just cut out everything else. Laser focus. And then they went on to win they won 6 national championships in a row because of that level of focus. Another book that talks about this is The Power of Broke by Damon John, the founder of Fubu and the Shark Tank. Read the book, The Power of Broke, on audible.com while you're working. He talks about that insatiable hustle that you have. When you were broke, you would hustle your ass off, 11, 12, 13 hours a day. But then when you get a 50 grand in the bank and you get your credit score back together and you got a poshy condo and you start to take it easy and you feel like you deserve it. But then you kind of flatline. The power of broke is where you hustle your ass off like your hair is on fire no matter what. Good night, sir. What is the epiphany? I have no idea. I can't even think of it. Maybe I wasn't supposed to share it. It was literally this close. It was amazing. It was like, ugh. And that's the thing about that if you have an epiphany, write it down immediately, take action on it, find a way to record that. I woke up yesterday morning with such clarity. It was like a lucid dream. I actually had gotten good sleep. Because we have a sick dog, and he's okay now, but he gets sick and he keeps me up all night long, throwing up all over the place. I haven't slept in like 10 years, literally. It's hard for me to get out of bed with our dog. He's a special needs dog. It's really, really tough around my house. But I actually got good sleep, and I woke up amazing, and I had this epiphany. I started sharing it with my wife, and I started to cry while telling her about it. I was talking about the different seasons of life, and she's like sitting there like, excuse me, getting ready for the day, and she's like putting her makeup on, and I'm like, I just kind of barge into her getting ready room, she calls it, and I'm like, oh my God, I had this dream, and oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And I'm brewing coffee, and she's just listening to me. And then I like started to cry because I had so much gratitude. And then at the moment I was starting to cry, my dog went out. Like he ran onto the front porch, and I was trying to get him inside. And then he started pissing on the front porch, and I was like trying to cry, but the dog was like pissing on the front porch, and I was holding the door. But I was like, hurry up and get inside so I can cry. But I couldn't cry because the dog was pissing on the front porch, and I was like, and then the cry went away, and it went back inside. And then the dog finally came in. And I was like, I didn't get to cry. And I don't cry a lot, but I really needed to cry. So then I like went into the bedroom, and I like laid on the bed, and I tried to force myself to cry, and I couldn't cry. And then I felt weird. And then I walked around yesterday till like 4 p.m. feeling all weird. I guess I never cried. Oh man. So, but the truth is I was actually afraid to cry in front of my wife. Like, is it like, because I was going to start sobbing, crying, like these healing tears. And I wanted to go just like hide and cry. I don't know. Maybe I'm immature or something. But next time, if I feel like crying, I'm just going to burst out crying in front of my wife. I don't care, because we all need to cry sometimes. Your wife is kind of hot. Can she make a guest appearance? Well, thank you for the observation. I never talk about this, but since you're still on here, I'm not saying this like I'm bragging to you or anything, because this is just my perception, because different people have different criterias of what they find attractive. My wife can just be like sitting. She sits at the kitchen table and works on the laptop and talks on the phone. I'm like weird, bro. I'll go like this, and I'll stand behind the wall. I'm 39-year-old grown ass, been married to her 10 years. And I'll look at her, and I'll be like, I said something to her before I fired up this live video. I'm like, I know this sounds really weird, but when I was like in my early 20s, why am I telling you guys? This is so stupid. If I had a poster of the woman that I always wanted to marry that I could have put on my wall and stared at every day, it would be my wife, inside and out. I can't even, and it's not a choice. I can't, like, I choose to love her. I'm in love with her. I want to be with the rest of my life, but I'm not choosing this. It's something I don't have any control over. And I feel so fortunate to feel that way, because some people don't feel that way. Some people aren't in love with their spouses at all, and it doesn't work out. And yet I never pictured myself as one. Like I couldn't even picture myself. I never felt worthy to even want to get married. Like I could never picture myself proposing or anything like that in my life. It was outside of the realm of possibility. And when I met her, the first time that she kissed me, I knew that she was the one immediately. It was like, how often does something happen to your life where you just know that's it? Like, and it happened too early for me. Even though I was already like 26 or 27. Wait, my mom died at 26. So I was 27. I was changed my whole life. One kiss. And I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her immediately, because I had never felt that way. I mean, literally if my wife even touches me, she could just touch me, and it feels like it feels like love flowing through me, and it's unbelievable. Like the way we yin yang, and she's so exciting. I could never ever get bored of her, ever. It's not possible. She's constantly exciting to me, and I could cry because I don't choose to feel this way. It's not hard. Oh my God. Sorry. Don't you have to have a license to do fertilizer? You can get like huge fines. If you can get into fertilizer, get the licensing, do it as quickly as possible. You know why? Because it's not a low barrier to entry service. It takes special licensing. Therefore, less people do it. So you can charge more money. You can get in and make more money and have, it takes special licensing. Anything that's super low barrier to entry is like, well, thank you, sir. Can you do the yin yang thing with your hands again? No. Would you? Sorry. What would be your top 5 virtual assistant freelancers worthy of crucial for a lawn care business and why? First one would be one to create and syndicate content for your social media marketing, for your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You probably don't have longer landscape customers going on TikTok, but you literally might. So what I do with my virtual assistants, like I have one specifically specializes in chopping up and sharing and posting content. So I make one YouTube video, and then this virtual assistant takes that and finds, good moments and chops it up and shares it across all the platforms. The next one is a blog article writer. My writer is a phenomenal writer, and we communicate back and forth. And then what this virtual assistant does is writes a monthly blog article that I review, and it's just really good. Writing blog articles for your business because they hit Google SERPs, which is search engine ranking page, and it hits the Google algorithm as you having more prolific content on your page. But it has to be like really good keyword research written, SEO optimized, white hat blog articles. Get yourself a writer. So you have a content syndicator and then a writer. That's 2. The next virtual assistant you should have is an ads manager, somebody who can actually build out campaigns and run a Google Ads or Facebook or both campaign for you that you pay them, I don't know, $250 per funnel per month, or $500. It could be $1,500 depending on what is your ad spend. I don't know how much you're spending. So that's 3, is somebody to run your ads for you. And then the 4th virtual assistant, would probably be a virtual receptionist that can answer phone calls for you up to maybe even up to 24 hours a day, and then take all the contact info off the input where people submit information on your website submissions, and then integrate all that into your CRM and push it out to Google Calendar, and then book all of your quotes for you and maybe even close jobs for you. So it would be a virtual receptionist. That's 4 out of the top 5 crucial virtual assistants. And number 5 would be virtual assistant. Would a bookkeeper qualify? Somebody to manage all of your books for you, plug into your QuickBooks and your bank accounts, and reconcile all of your books and transactions and categorize everything for you, so you are in good shape for so you know what your numbers are, your profit margins, and for your accountant each year. Because I hire like virtual assistants. Like I just paid a virtual assistant $375 to write copy for me for one single sales page. I have another virtual assistant. We don't work together anymore. He was $150 an hour. And the stuff that he did was so good. It was too good. It scared people away because it was intimidating. So think about that, food for thought. I've hired over 50 virtual assistants. That's rough, bro. You lost your dad, so you had to grow up super early and become a man, and never knew your mom. You know, it's funny. It's not funny at all. I'm very sorry. But you made me think of something that when I say it's funny. My friend Rob, who is a NLP certified master neurolinguistic hypnotherapist, private mastery coach, whatever I say that all the time. He talks about fathering yourself. And then there's nature's God or God. When you can get to the point where it's like a spiritual thing where you can father yourself and you tap into your core masculinity, and then the feeling of well-being and buoyancy and feeling supported and loved and nurtured, that's the feminine side that you would get from your mother. How would you mother yourself? My mom died when I was 26 of a drug overdose. And this is very personal and I might regret saying it, but for a couple years in my marriage, I wanted to like run to my wife and put my head on her shoulder and hug her and hold her so I would feel safe when I was like terrified, growing my business and working a million hours with debt collectors calling me. And sometimes she would do that if I required that in a masculine way. And it was real and it was centered from core masculinity. But if it was coming from a weak feminine place, it would, from my perception, I may be wrong, it was perceived as a threat to her. Like, she's like, if I coddle this grown ass man when he needs to get his ass out and hustle, I might be, what is it called? Enabling him to be a wuss. So my wife played no part in that. And it was like, I had to learn how to like stiffen my upper lip and like wipe my tears and fucking father myself. And it was really, really, really tough transition for me. And I resisted it for a long time. And I was a late bloomer. And you losing your father at being 20, that's fucking tremendous, bro. So I'm super proud of you that you have a new landscaping company and a baby girl due next month. And I think that that's amazing. And I wish you all the success in the world. And I hope you keep in touch and keep us all posted, because we've all got your back and we're rooting for you. And you made me cry. Keith would make a great father. Any kids in the future? Why'd you ask the question? I never talked about this publicly before, and I don't ever talk about it. Someone's like, one of them's infertile. No. I grew up so fucking poor that I would literally, I wanted to have kids like 5 years ago. But I'm so terrified of not having the time to work, to hustle, to make money. And I want to get so much fucking money in the bank. And people say, if you wait till you have enough money, then you'll never have enough money. It's like when people talk like that to me, I literally become an asshole and I won't talk. It's just like I get real touchy around the subject and I get pissed off because I want to make sure that we're financially stable. If I have a business to where I break my ankle and I can't work and we can't bring in money, I've lived in 32 homes and I've lived in homeless shelters twice with my mom. We've lived in my mom's car. I've slept in my car. And I don't think that stuff is going to happen, but it could happen. I just want to be totally financially stable. And I think that we're there now. My wife is not the type of woman that would tolerate me being gone 70 hours a week working when we have a kid at home. She would want my presence there. And I think that the only way to learn things is to throw your back against the wall. Just to do this live stream tonight, I've got distracted like 16 times for 4 hours straight just to be able to get here. And I think of all the things that would be eliminated and that would have to go, that tiny little slice that I have left. And what's happening is I think you'll get to the point where I woke up one morning. I'm not religious, but I believe in God, and the Holy Spirit was talking to me. And it felt like an angel had come to me. You could say I was tripping, but I wasn't tripping. This was so real. It said, it's time to prepare to start a family. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then it was like, everything will be okay. And when you finally start a family, all of your fears will go away. And you'll be the happiest you've ever been in your life. Okay, this was like an angel talking to me. Like, this felt so real that I couldn't have made this up. And I was like, really? All my fears will go away and everything's going to be okay? Because sometimes you can't believe that your life is actually going to work out and be okay, right? Why is that going to happen for you? You've watched so many people fall before you. Why is your life going to be okay? It's like a survivor's guilt type thing. And then I was like, really? No way, screw that. I'm not ready yet. And then this angel showed me while I was like half asleep. It could have been my higher self. It showed me what my life would be like if I never had a family. And it was the most terrifying version of my life that I could possibly consider. It was terrifying. And ever since that day, that morning, when I was half asleep, I feel the clock ticking to start a family. And it's at the point now where, well, there might be a little Kelphus running around. And the baby will be right here in the video, screaming and crying, and everybody will leave and nobody will watch it. And then I'll go in the house and I'll be like, here, take the baby because I have to make a live video. And then my wife will be screaming at me because I'll be making a live video. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. Peace. And then we'll just lose everything. And then we'll just go. Shit, man. That's insane. I really must be old, huh? I won't even repeat that comment, but I take that as a compliment. Thank you for that. Have had people on social media be like, you're like the dad I never had. People have said it. I think I would be a great dad. I think that I had this funny thing. If I have kids, every time, like when they're really little, and we go past like McDonald's or Burger King, I would be like, oh, McDonald's, disgusting. Bleh, don't ever eat it. It's poison, right? And I told this to another parent. Well, I mean, to a parent once, because I'm not a parent yet. And they're like, you can say all that you want to your kids that McDonald's disgusting and you won't let them eat it because it's poison. Just wait till they get to first grade or kindergartner to get around other kids. And those other kids are eating McDonald's. They're going to come home and be like, Joey ate McDonald's and he's fine. I want chicken nuggets too. And then they're going to come home screaming that they want McDonald's, and you're eventually going to give in and you're going to get them McDonald's and they're going to love it. And there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, shit. My cousin is on here. Iocane powder. Don't forget backup dancers. What are you talking about? Backup dancers. I hope you're not talking about when I used to do music back in the day. Oh, Lewis. Where is Lewis? I haven't heard from Lewis, cousin Lewis, in like 5 years. Since the day I don't care, he's not on there. Since the day he flipped out at the wedding reception, and then like cousin Lewis flipped out at the screw it, I'll tell everybody on live. There was a wedding reception at our family like 5 years ago. And no, I'm not gonna throw him under the bus like that. God, he'll never see this. I'm just not that type of guy. Anyways, but I have to tell you because it's so funny. Grandma was in a wheelchair. Our grandma, and for some reason she was out in like the parking lot, and our cousins were with grandma behind the van for some reason, talking to her. And nobody knew this. But like I walked past, I was like, "Oh, hi, grandma." And then cousin Lewis walked past, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, Lewis?" And he's like, "What's grandma doing behind the van with our cousins?" I'm like, "I don't know. They're probably back there smoking a joint." I just cracked a stupid joke, right? I'm dressed nice. I'm like, "Oh, they're smoking a joint." And I kept walking. But Lewis believed it. He goes, our cousins are smoking a joint with grandma? And dude, he flipped out at the wedding reception, and he started like yelling, and like he's like, "You guys are all messed up." And I can feel you laughing right now. And he literally like peeled off in his truck and like did a burnout, was screaming and like left, and he was so pissed. And it was like a big scene, and it was like at a wedding reception. You're like, "What kind of family are you guys?" And like I was like, but nobody knew that I had told him that they just thought he was just flipping out and like thought that. So 5 years later, I actually brought this up, and I told this to our family that I said that what I had said, and it was just a joke. I didn't make him flip out like that. Should I tell everybody this? All right, I'm going to say it. Here goes. God. This is the stuff my wife holds me accountable and warns me not to talk about on social media. She's like, "Don't you ever say that stuff. Your reputation is on the line, Keith. Why would you say that?" She's very like smart. Man, I can't say it. Should I say it? Oh, I ain't gonna say it. You're dying laughing. Should I say it? Iocane powder. Should I tell everybody? Hey, I should literally call her right now. Oh, wait. It's legal in Michigan. Okay. I brought it up to my cousins. I'm going to go back and scrub this part out. Wait, we're live on 8 platforms. Never mind. You're too far to stop now. No? All right, I won't say it. Thank you. Next. See? Oh, say it. All right, I'm going to call her right now so you guys can't hear, and I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to ask if it's because I'm like a little like hysterical right now. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm calling my cousin. I'll tell you guys, and you will all laugh your ass off. Hey, I gotta mute this. Okay, I'll tell everybody. Bye. I've got the okay. So 5 years goes by, and I bring up the story, and I'm telling everybody. And my cousins told me we actually were smoking a joint with grandma. I was like, "What?" I don't know if they were actually smoking with grandma, but they actually were behind the van smoking a joint. So I was like, "Oh my God, I feel so bad." See, it's not funny anymore. But it's funny because I was just cracking a joke. Oh, God. Showing up to the late show. If you knew my grandma, you would understand. So yeah, I cracked a funny joke and it turned out it was true. So my grandma's in the nursing home. We went and visited her a couple of weeks ago. And as soon as you see her, all she would say, cigarettes, cigarettes. She wants cigarettes. And she literally, we would sneak her cigarettes because like she's super old and you know what I'm saying? Like she loves cigarettes. And if you were go over my grandma's house, she literally would have tobacco all over the table and one of those roll your own like big joint cigarette rolling machines. And she would smoke cigarette after cigarette and play Sudoku and crossword puzzles. And there'd be like tobacco and cigarettes all over the table. And I'd be like, hey, grandma, do you want to go out to breakfast? No. She was super stern, but she had all the love in the world. She was just a very stern woman. And so we would like sneak grandma out of the nursing home and we would wheel her out the back door and it'd be freezing out. So we'd bring like coats and, you know, like bundle her ass up and she's out there fucking smoking cigarettes. And when we wheel back in, there's her back in, there'd be like ashes all over and shit because she's so old she can't like flick it, and the ash would go so long to the point where the ash would just fall off on her fucking lap. And grandma comes back in the nursing home shaking all cold. And the nurses are like, you fuckers, quit giving her cigarettes. I'm like, dude, she wants cigarettes. Give her cigarettes. It's like, I'm not sure being mean. Like, she loves cigarettes. It's the only thing that makes her happy. So, God, I love my grandma. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. So, anyways. Oh, whoa. Isn't that crazy? My sister ran away at 11 and went and lived with my grandma. I ran away at 14 or 15. Slept on couches, worked 3 jobs, had my own places. And by the time I was like, I think like I was like 20, I was so burned out. I ended up sleeping in my car for 3 months and I ended up living with grandma. You ended up living with grandma. When we saw grandma in the nursing home, Chrissy started crying, saying, thank you, grandma. Like, you took us all in. You did all these things. I have to call and find out how she's doing right now, if she's going into hospice, because she's a fighter. If you could chat with anybody that is alive for 20 minutes, who would you choose? Wow, that's an amazing question. Wow, that's amazing. Sorry. This is very true. All right, it's my wrap-up time. And thank you guys for your time. Whatever, it's almost midnight. No matter what I do every night at midnight, I just stop everything and go to bed. That way I can get up. And I wish you guys the best of success. If you're came in super late, I was just go back to the beginning and you'll see. And check out my podcast, the Untrapped Podcast. We just crossed like 600,000 downloads, new episodes every single Monday. And I'll be happy to hear from you. A couple of people wanted to get on the phone with me. It's keithkelfas.com/call. And I'm super, super happy and hope you're crushing it. Later, guys.